Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my next paycheck budget. So I next am due to get paid on the 9th of February, which will be my first February paycheck, and it's my third paycheck for 2023 and my third paycheck while I've been actually paying attention to my finances and on this journey to kind of debt freedom and setting up some savings. So I'll say so far, my first paycheck of the year went incredibly well. My second paycheck has not gone so well so far. I will be sharing a budget closeout to that when that kind of pay period officially ends. It should be up on Wednesday or Thursday this week. So this being my third paycheck, I'm really hoping to get back on track and have a really successful next 2 weeks with this paycheck. So I'll share all my real numbers here. So my income that I'm expecting is my regular income. So I do work full-time as a pediatric occupational therapist. So I usually take home $2,751.82 plus my salary packaging from that same employer of $346.53. That's my regular income for working a full-time job. Extra income, I'm not budgeting anything for. However, I'm really trying to give myself a goal of somehow making $100 in the next 2 weeks. So I'm not putting that in there because nothing is guaranteed, but I'm going to be trying to sell something around my house to make up to hopefully around $100. Savings used. So for the first time, I'm actually going to be using some savings this year. So I'm going to be pulling $300 from a sinking fund to use. And I'll show you where that goes later on in this budget. Other income, not expecting anything in particular. So that means for income over the next 2 weeks, what I'm expecting is $3,398.35. Moving down to my bills. So most of these are really regular bills. So my mortgage is currently $700 a fortnight, and I put that in straight away on payday. My health insurance is $128.60. My internet, that's unlimited Wi-Fi with Dodo, is $75. Spotify, which is one of the minimal subscriptions I have kept because I love listening to it. I can never go back to having ads again. I just can't. That is $11.99. Now the next bill, content insurance. This is actually a new one that I have just added over the last few days. And a bit of a story with that. So the reason for this is I never used to have contents insurance. So I do own an apartment in a strata complex. So when you live in strata, I'm not sure if it's the same overseas, but if you live in a strata like building, basically if something was to happen to the building or the apartment, like a fire, some kind of natural disaster where your apartment was ruined, that's actually like kind of your insurance for the apartment is covered under the strata, which means you don't technically then need like house insurance because that's covered under the strata rates that you pay. However, the contents of what's inside your apartment are not covered. So if there was a fire that was to destroy your apartment entirely, I would get paid out for the apartment itself, but not for any of my items inside. It's not for any of my technology, my furniture, anything that was inside. In the past, I just thought, we'll risk it, we'll hope this never happens. And then what happened this past weekend is there was a fire in the building 2 doors down from me. So not within my apartment building, but like the apartment block 2 doors down. So it was incredibly scary. So I think there was one apartment in that building that did get entirely destroyed. And yeah, it was a big scene. So I ended up actually outside of my apartment looking on for about an hour at like 4 a.m. in the morning when it was happening. It was, a bit of a scary scene. And it made me realize that I should have some kind of insurance for those contents just in case in the worst case scenario something does happen. So I did go online and have now started that insurance. And so that's now $29.10, which I think is worth it for that peace of mind. Next is my council rates. So I do pay these quarterly, and this is actually where that savings used comes in. So I do have a sinking fund for my council rates, which has $300 in it, and I will be using them to pay this first quarter of council rates. So we'll get them done. So that means in total for bills this fortnight, I'm planning to spend $1,244.69. Moving down to variable expenses. So these are pretty standard, what I always kind of aim for. So petrol, I'm aiming for under $1.50. Tolls to drive on the highways, I'm aiming for $101. Food and groceries, which does include both groceries and also eating out, is $450. Household supplies, $50. Health, $50. Personal spending, $50, and miscellaneous, $50, for a total of $901, which is very standard for me at the moment. Moving down to my sinking funds. So if we look at the starting balances, currently the only sinking funds I have money in are my council rates and car registration, and obviously this council rates I'm planning to empty that sinking fund to pay for those this paycheck. So sinking funds for me at the moment aren't very exciting because they're all at zero. I feel like I'm just in that early building phase, starting to try and get some money into these funds as I can. However, because I have mentioned in past videos at the beginning of the year, I do have some quite big bills. So that's why I'm putting really larger amounts into the ones I need to kind of get those big bills taken care of at the beginning of the year. And then more towards the end of the year, I would hopefully then be able to put smaller amounts of money into all of these sinking funds so they start having some kind of balance in each one. But for now, my next big bill I really have to focus on is car registration. So for this paycheck, the only fund I'm going to be contributing to is my car registration, and I'm actually going to put $600 into it. So quite a large amount, because I do need to have $1,200 by the time that is due. And all the rest of these are budgeting zero. Now, if we move down to the last few sections on this spreadsheet, I always kind of have a look at these together. So my savings at the moment, my two main goals are my emergency fund and my new phone. I'm not actually going to be contributing to any of them right now, as I'm still trying to focus on some debt. So I apologize if that spreadsheet just jumped up. It just went all over the place. But you can see they're both at $0. Now my debt, which is my big goal at the moment, so my personal loan here is a regular payment every single fortnight of $213.90. So that is standard. Now my 3 credit cards and the family loan are not due at the moment, so I'm not contributing anything to them right now. My business debt is the debt I am focusing on, so usually any extra money I have I will throw at this debt. So if we come down here, this is my budget, so you can see leftover currently is $438.76. So I am going to contribute all of that to my business debt, which you can see there. So that is my budget, and now down the bottom it's $0 left over, so that means we have budgeted every single dollar. I'm hoping this is exactly how it goes. Well, actually, I'm not hoping it's exactly how it goes. I'm hoping I can save money in some of those variable expenses to then be able to throw even more money at my business debt. But the bare minimum, that's what I'm hoping to contribute to debt. So that is my budget for the next 2 weeks. If you have any questions or suggestions, as always, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise I will see you later this week for a budget closeout for my second January paycheck. We'll see you then. Bye.